Hit me one time. Yeah. This is the Capital City Podcast. I'm your host, Capital J, alongside my main man,
DL Glass.
And tonight, we're going to talk about how not to get got.
Ooh, that's a good one.
You been got before?
A couple times.
A couple. Oh, my goodness.
Yeah.
As long as I've been DJing, I used to just chalk it up. Once a year, I'm going to get got.
Once a year?
Oh, once a year.
Damn.
Once a year.
You old.
Hey. So I've been got more than a couple of times.
Jeez. Yeah.
So we're going to teach you how not to get got. If you enter in this game and you got some talent, maybe you sing, rap, DJ, whatever, you're going to get got a few times along the way. We're going to give you some things to look out for. Now, how did I get got? I got by not getting cash up front.
What you mean? No deposit?
Right. Back in the day, I would go out on word. You know, Somebody say, hey, all right, they'd call me up, be like, look, man, need you to DJ such and such on this date. And I just show up, and normally everything works out.
Okay.
And, you know, you get comfortable with things just working out.
Okay.
Then one day you get there, you start DJing, you look around, you be like, man, there's 20 people in here. It's 1 o'clock in the morning. I don't think they're going to show up. And the promoter start disappearing slowly, you know what I mean? You see him at 10, you see him at 11. Around 12 o'clock, you know, he ain't talking to you no more. He just walking around. You see him way on the other side of the building. You be like, man, is he going to come back over here? You know, first 2 hours, he was bringing drinks up. You know, you need anything?
Right.
Then around 12:30, you know, all that communication is over.
Well, I already said, what's up? Ask you, did you need anything?
Well, that was an hour ago. Those drinks are consumed, you know? What you're not realizing, though, is that he's telling the same thing to the bar that he told to you. He got it all worked out.
Absolutely.
So the way I got usually as a DJ was showing up and taking people at their word.
Okay.
So the first thing I would tell you, if you're coming into this game, and this is, you know, entertainment is part of the gig economy.
But I'm sorry to go back, but you ain't been got lately or recently.
Oh, no, we're going to get to that. Like, I'm going to tell you all the things I did to curtail these incidents to stop it from happening.
I was just talking about the part about not getting your money.
Oh, no, I don't get got anymore.
Okay. Growth.
It's a thing called contracts.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
But back in the day, I didn't have a contract for everything.
Right.
You know, I've been doing this a long, long time. And to my discredit, I didn't start making sure I had a contract for every single thing until probably the last 10 years.
Okay.
You know?
Right.
A lot of the other stuff is, you know, you work in one city for a while, you get to know the promoters, you know the club owners.
Okay.
You know, they're not going anywhere.
Right. Darn different.
Hey, when I moved to Durham,
You better.
I'm getting ready to start, because I don't know these guys. You know,
Right.
a lot of those other dudes, it's like, hey, if you get me, you're going to have to square up before we work together again.
Right.
So even if, you know, or sometimes you build a relationship over time.
Okay.
Like I can remember certain clubs that, you know, when they would have a good night, they'll pay me a little extra. Everything was good. And then on a bad night, I don't have anything. Well, don't worry about it because I work here a lot.
Okay.
You have given me extra and broke bread when everything was good.
Right.
So I'm not going to worry about it. And I don't even consider that getting got, you know.
Yeah, that's different.
We got a working relationship here.
Right.
But like I remember one time I opened up for Aaron Hall.
Mm-hmm.
As so you know, I'm just DJing for the crowd. I'm supposed to do maybe 20, 25 minutes. Then Aaron Hall's supposed to come on.
Okay.
It wasn't just me. It was me and a drummer. It was a solo drummer. And, he got a gig opening up, too. Okay. And he was such a good drummer that, he just sat out there and rocked the drums for like 20 minutes. And that was his set. But he had a phenomenal show. He was great.
Okay.
Then, after about 25 minutes, I'm winding it down, got the crowd hype ready. I'm like, yeah, y'all ready for Aaron Hall? Promoter come up like, yo. I need you to go by another 20, 30 minutes. I got to square some business up.
Oh, God.
So I go another 20, 30 minutes.
God.
Then I'm like, y'all ready for Aaron Hall? He's like, yo, wait a minute. So then next thing you know, me and the drummer, like the drummer starts playing while I'm DJing and we killing the crowd.
Oh, God. But
Aaron Hall is nowhere to be found.
Jeez.
Come to find out that Aaron Hall is like, hey, he had his business together. He's back to like, I ain't setting one foot on this stage.
Till I get my back in.
Till I get my money.
Right.
So the promoter's running around trying to scrounge up all the money he can get to pay Aaron Hall to come on.
Okay.
Which leaves no money for me and the drummer. So at the end of the night, I'm looking for mine. He's like, yeah, man, I'm going to bring it to you on Monday.
Scratching his neck.
Yeah, I'm going to bring it to you on Monday.
Right.
So, I'm looking for him on Monday. I'm calling. There ain't nobody picking up,
Yeah.
So, I got. But eventually I did get squared away. But
okay,
that's kind of how it happens. You walk into the situation thinking everything's going to be cool because all the other things were cool. And it's not always cool. So what I learned from that is the first thing I did was just start getting a deposit before I even write it on my calendar.
Absolutely.
So like even without a contract,
right?
I said I'm gonna get a deposit
to lock in that date.
To lock the date, or I'm not even taking this seriously.
Right.
And I think the main thing that made me change, I changed that way before I started with the contracts.
Okay.
This was back in the 90s. I showed up to a club that I normally DJ all the time. Mm-hmm. And somebody called me from the organization, but somebody else from the organization called another DJ.
Oh.
When I got there, the other DJ was set up.
Okay.
And I'm pissed. You know what I'm saying? I'm like literally ready to fight somebody because back in the day, at this junction in my career,
it wasn't sharing.
No, I wasn't doing anything but DJing.
Okay.
So one night, you miss a night in the club, it's kind of like missing half a week of work.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Okay.
Like rent is due, man.
Money.
Right. You can't just tell me. So, I'm in there ready to, ready to thump.
Okay. Right.
But I realized, I said, from here on out, I'm not writing anything in my calendar unless I get a deposit. Because once people pay you a deposit, they won't forget and call somebody else.
That's accountability. They've already put some money down.
And I would say to most people, go ahead and get half.
Yes.
Half of whatever you charge is usually enough to keep. It makes it easier on the back end.
Yes.
For the promoter.
Right.
Because now they're not responsible for the full amount anymore. Mm-hmm. Second, they have paid enough that the event will go ahead and proceed as planned because they have skin in the game now.
Okay.
They've already started paying you.
So I learned similar to you by people not paying the agreed upon. And so if I show up to shoot something, I got the deposit, like you said, to put it on the calendar. But before we shoot,
you go ahead and get the rest of it.
Yes. So there's no confusion at the end of the night.
Right. Now, sometimes I'll let you slide and get the rest at the end of the night.
Okay.
Because after the deposit is paid, it's not so much of a burden to come up with the rest of it.
I can understand
you already paid me half. You can come up with the other half at the end of the night. Most events.
Yeah.
People I don't trust.
Mm-hmm.
As soon as I walk in the door, all right, let's go ahead and get this squared away before I set up.
So I can't remember which comedian, but he made the joke of Have you ever seen a bunch of N-words together eating dinner? Everybody having fun and laughing and talking and shit. You can tell when the waiter or the waitress has brought the check, though.
Right, everybody get quiet, start looking around. You know, nobody want to pull their wallet out.
Right.
Right.
You know, that's the way I feel about collecting the money after. You know, and I know it's two different arenas, but at the same time, I'm like, yeah. So if you pay before you eat, either you're gonna enjoy the meal or you're not.
Right.
You know what I mean?
But everybody's having fun when it's free, though.
Yeah, it's free until the check comes.
You know, hey.
I was at a family event a few months ago, and it was some people at a table next to us, and they were going through the same. They were so loud, it was like, can they be quiet? Like, they having too much fun over there. They disrupting what we got going on.
Check came and got quiet as a mouse, didn't it?
I thought somebody died.
Yeah. But that's how it is when it's time to pay. So imagine that same meal if everybody came in and paid half up front. It's not so much of a burden at the end.
After, absolutely.
You know?
Right.
And usually when somebody makes that call, it's a month, 2 months, 3 months in advance.
Yeah.
So they've gotten that out of the way, and now you only have half left to pay.
Right.
It's a whole lot easier on everybody. It's easier on me. It's easier on the promoter.
Right.
So that was the first thing I did was start getting deposits. Okay. And, you know, like I said, to my discredit, I started the game. I wasn't getting deposits for everything.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right. Of course not.
Second thing you need to do is, you know, figure out what the going rate is for what you're doing.
Right. Competitiveness.
You have to talk to the other people. You got to network a little bit. Not, you know, I know networking, a lot of people think, you know, networking is overrated. It's not really, because if you're in an area and you're one of the people that provide a certain type of entertainment, you need to be in contact with a few more people that provide the same entertainment.
Right.
So y'all can create a base.
It's like barbershops in all the barbershops in town that neighbor each other. Their prices are pretty much the same.
Right.
Yeah.
And you don't want to be the person to come in like, and I know that for a lot of people to get a foot in the door, the way to get a foot in the door is come in and do it cheaper.
Absolutely.
That's on almost every business across the board.
Right.
But you can't do that forever.
Right. Right.
You know?
Yeah, because you're underselling yourself.
You're underselling yourself and you're ruining the market.
Absolutely.
Like, if you're good, like if you're bad, you keep charging less, people just won't pay it. They want a better DJ, they'll pay more.
Right.
But if you're good,
yes,
and you never realize the value, the value that your area has set on your service,
yes, then
you'll ruin the market.
Right. Right.
Why should I pay this person when I can pay this person who's good? And I only have to pay him half. Well, that person who's good needs to get in line and charge what everybody else is charging.
So I went to a sales seminar to teach you basically how to sell yourself. And what you're saying about the selling the service or the entertainment for cheaper than what the going rate is, it only comes with problems. Like you said, it'll work out fine in the beginning, but as you grow and you learn and you bring more to the table for whatever you were hired for, they're going to expect more from you.
For less money.
For less money. And how you weed out those problems is once you find out what the going rate is, even if you a few ticks higher than the going rate, you won't have to deal with the BS. Now that's if you said that's if you have what you said was, which is talent to do it.
If you have the talent to do it.
Right.
Now, one problem with trying to charge that money is, you know, in the hip hop community, I think as a DJ, you get caught up in wanting to be where the people are. And the promoters know.
Right.
So I'm talking to you DJs right now in particular. Promoters know when they have a hot thing going.
Okay.
Like, let's say every Thursday night at this spot is jumping. It's the place to be every Thursday, and people are going to show up regardless.
Right.
Well, there sometimes you reach a point where it doesn't matter who the entertainment is. The spot is the draw.
Right. So
and you want to be in that spot.
Right.
So you take what they offer to be in that spot.
Right.
Because of the exposure you get from being there.
Right.
And, as much as I hate to say it, it is a trade-off sometimes.
Okay.
But you have to be careful in those situations too. Because what I found in my career is I've been instrumental in creating those spots in a lot of places.
Okay.
Somebody say, hey, man, I'm getting ready to start doing a Thursday night at such and such. Come in and do every Thursday. Okay, come in and do every Thursday. Now, this is where that relationship comes in. It's like, look, hey, we just getting started. Okay. Help me get it jumping, and then, we'll get up to your rate.
Okay.
I'm like, okay, well, if it's going to be every week, I could do that.
Right.
But what always happened is I started at that rate to help get the thing going.
Right. That's how they want.
And then it's jumping.
Right.
And they don't ever break bread like they said they would do.
Right. Right.
When you start complaining about money, we're like, well, this spot is the joint now. You know what I'm saying? We're going to be all right. So they move on. They get somebody cheaper. And that cheaper person, you'll see them out there in the crowd. They'll sit there in the crowd and watch you for 2 months.
Okay.
And they come in and just play everything you play.
Right. And you can't go ask for money because you might get dollar bill.
You see, so what I learned
is gonna be trouble.
What I learned is I don't do that anymore.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm not cutting my rate to help you get nothing started because nobody breaks bread on the back end. I haven't met not one club owner or promoter that honored what they said they would do.
Wow.
None of them.
Wow. You trying to name a name? Or you gonna leave that?
I mean, it's too many to name. I don't have to name anybody because they're all the same.
Oh, okay. Okay. Janky.
Nobody comes through when they night gets popping and pays you more.
Right.
Even though you were there from the inception.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I don't cut those deals.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right. That's growth.
And yeah, and what you realize is that, but see, I'm also past the point where I need to be there.
That's different too.
Right. So I can't say what I would do if I needed that spot to help me get my name.
Right. Right.
You feel me?
Absolutely.
So we talk about you got to get some money up front, deposits, but what it evolved to is eventually I started with the contracts.
Accountability tool.
Right. And I've never had to, I haven't had to take anybody to court over contract or anything like that. But I haven't got since I've been using contract.
Okay. Okay.
Something about people signing their name on that paper.
Right.
For all the details.
That's the problem that most of us have. And when I say most of us have, I'm just talking about within our community. That because we have bad business practices that in turn make the personal relationship bad. And what I mean by, because I feel like all those failed businesses where a few people come together to have a business, they often fail because they don't have an accountability tool. And the accountability tool in my world is a contract.
It's a contract.
It holds everybody accountable for what you're supposed to be doing. We can have 1,000 conversations about what we're individually supposed to do collectively, but it don't work.
Hey man, and every time something goes astray,
yeah,
I add it to the contract.
Absolutely. Right.
You know what I mean?
Right, yeah.
Like if I'm DJing outside and it starts raining,
put
tent must be available.
Yes. Well,
you know what I mean?
Time to go. Yeah.
Or I get to a spot and the building doesn't have proper electricity
right.
available. Proper electricity must be available. You are responsible for damage to the equipment. Should the breaker not be able to handle what I'm doing and something blows, then that's on you, because I told you in the contract.
Yes.
I mean, even right down to a table. You need to have me a table. I'm not bringing a table.
Right.
You know, sometimes I've been places where you get there, get ready to set up, there's no table for you. I'm like, where's the table? Like, you ain't got no table? I'm like, you ain't read the contract? You see what I'm saying? That's in the contract.
Right.
Set me up a table.
Find me one.
You know?
Absolutely.
And I didn't say you got to decorate it and do all that. Just have one for me. And, you know, you learn to add these things as they come up.
Right.
You know, okay, the event, you know, the building burned down the week before the party.
Oh, wow.
And I added something for that. You know, suppose something happens, you get paid half for a gig up front. And then for some oddball reason,
right,
the venue becomes unavailable at the last minute.
Yes.
Well, I've booked other weekends. What's, you know, do they lose the deposit?
Right.
I set up a stipulation where, look, should something happen and this event doesn't happen, your deposit is good on another date that's available on my calendar. I give you a year.
Okay.
You can move it out, you know, anywhere within 1 year.
Okay.
And your deposit's still good, and we can redo this event. You know, you learn, you know, I had to add that because I've had things happen before, you know.
Well, 72 hours before the event, the balance has to be paid. And if something happens where the event can't happen, you have 6 months to use it.
That's yours.
Yes.
6 months.
Yeah.
I give them a year. I give them a year. You know, let me see, what else did I end up adding? You need to give me a reasonable expectation of how many people you expect.
Yeah. Right.
You know, here's what happens when people call. Hey, can you DJ? How much? How much it costs for you to come DJ my party?
Right.
I don't know anything about your party.
Right. Right.
So anybody listening, if you DJ or do any type of performance, find out how many people are going to be there, how big is the room, how long is it going to last? Because you know, the natural assumption back in the day, a party would last 4 to 5 hours.
Shit.
You know, maybe 9 to 2, maybe 10 to 2, maybe 2 to 6, but 4 to 5 hours is usually what happens.
Okay.
But if you don't ask in advance, how long is this party going to be? Man, they mess around, start that party at 8 o'clock and go till 4 in the morning.
Right. And you there because you got a contract.
Right. And you didn't ask how long you were going to be there.
Right.
And that matters.
Absolutely.
It matters. It doesn't just matter a little bit. That's one of the most important things. So people call and say, hey, how much you charge DJ party? I can't give you an answer
until I know these.
Until you give me all these details.
Right.
So I got a whole list of questions.
Yes.
That I'm asking people before I can give them a quote.
Right. Right.
You know, especially now that I'm bringing the sound too.
Yeah.
Like when I was bigger, you know, I'm using air quotes. Okay. You know, and I was, you know, you go through phases in DJing. Like right now I'm at a phase where I wouldn't say I'm the biggest DJ in the state. You know what I mean?
Right.
I can handle any gig because I've done so much.
Okay.
But there was a time when I would do strictly big stuff.
Okay.
I didn't have to worry about sound. So I could just pay, you know, you could pay me for my time. And the equipment didn't matter. But now if I'm bringing sound too,
yes,
I need to know the dimensions of the building. You know, like, here's the deal. You charge somebody, let's say you say, okay, $500 for 3 hours of my time or whatever. Well, if you bring in sound, you need to charge for the sound.
Yes.
And if the room is huge, you got to charge for extra sound.
Extra sound.
And then you mess around and give them a quote, and then they tell you at the last minute, well, we got a VIP lounge just across the hall, and that got to have sound in it.
Oh God.
Well, you know what? Guess what? You got to be there extra hour early and set up another room.
Right.
You need to ask these questions in advance.
Yes.
Or you'll get stuck doing way more work. You know, your $100 an hour just turned into $15 an hour because all this time you end up spending.
When I was shooting weddings, the wedding was supposed to start at 1. Guess what time it started? 3:30.
Yeah, that sounds right.
and I had to do the wedding ceremony and the reception.
Mm-hmm.
So
that's where that contract comes in, because guess what? If your contract states 1 to 3 and they start at 3:30, you force them to be on time because, hey, y'all better get it together. This ain't got to start at 1 because I paid the photographer half his money already and he's leaving at 3. That's what the contract says.
I give you a 2-hour window for the wedding to start, because I understand stuff happens on the wedding day. 2 hours for the ceremony and an hour and a half, or I leave after the first dance for the reception. Yeah, that's the way it is now, because I learned that. And the wedding stuff, like I said, I know stuff happens. Stuff happens all the time.
Hey.
But the time that I gave this discounted price for a friend of a friend, they expected so much more. Oh, man.
Friend of a friend. Now, see, that's a whole nother can of worms right there. DJing for family and friends.
Money and blood don't mix like two.
Hey.
Dope. Fight yourself is serious.
I do a lot for family and friends now, and I do favors for family and friends still.
Yeah,
and you
have to.
I admit that I do.
Mm-hmm.
And for the most part nowadays, everybody's pretty cool, but that's where you find yourself doing way more work.
Absolutely.
And, even with family and friends, ask all the questions up front before you even decide what kind of discount you can give.
Yes.
Because you mess around and be like, hey, man, I've known you since we played in the sandbox together.
Right.
So I'm going to do it for $100. And as soon as you say that, they'll wait about 2 weeks and then add all this extra stuff.
Now, you still got to sign a contract, even if I give you the family and friend discount.
Even with the family and friends.
Absolutely.
Well, you doing the right thing.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying?
So everything is spelled out. There's no strain on the relationship. You know what you're supposed to do, and I know what I'm supposed to do.
Right.
Right. What else do we have to talk about?
Hey, but remember, ask questions. All the details matter. The details matter more than anything else. And especially with weddings, DJs, I'm talking to you, photographers, anybody involved with weddings, they're not like they used to be. When like I said, I've been in DJing. My first time DJing for money was 1989. So here we are all these years later. And when I used to DJ wedding receptions back in the day, the wedding business has changed. Like, it's not simple like it used to be.
No.
Like, back in the day, everybody got married in a church and had their reception in a separate venue.
Right.
And today, a wedding could happen at the same venue as the reception, but that's something that was kind of unheard of in the late 80s, early 90s.
Yes.
People got married in the church and you just set up at the reception.
Mm-hmm.
And the only thing you really had to do was introduce the bridal party and all that stuff, first dance, and there was no real schedule after that.
Okay.
Now, people want you to do a wedding. The bride come in with 150 songs.
Yes.
A playlist.
Right.
It's like, hey, these are the songs I want to hear. And ain't none of that shit, nothing that nobody want to listen to at a party.
Right.
But the thing is that person's day.
Yes.
And since these songs are so obscure and so exclusive to the interest of the people involved, you don't have this stuff in your computer. So you got to start thinking about what kind of time am I gonna spend collecting this music that I'm never gonna use again for your wedding?
Right.
That's another 2-3 hours sometimes. Just getting the playlist together of songs that I'm never ever gonna use ever again.
Right.
And that's something that you didn't have to worry about back in the day, especially with records. You know what I mean? Like the only record you needed to have was, I need this song for the first dance and maybe this song when you introduce everybody.
Yes. Yeah.
Now, man, they got a song for the flower girl. They got a song for when the preacher walk in.
The parents.
They got a song for
my great aunt.
Right. You know, and then we're gonna take a break, and the groom want to say something special to the bride.
Yeah.
I did a wedding, and the groom wanted to sing a song.
Oh wow.
And, you know, you got to find an instrumental.
Yeah. For
the song he wants to sing.
Right.
Set up a microphone.
Do the check with him.
Right.
All this extra.
And now you since the wedding is happening at the same venue, you got a mic up there efficient, and the bride or the groom. So you talking about lapel mics and all this stuff, this extra stuff.
Lighting.
That I never, lighting, oh my God.
Right.
Like I hadn't heard the term up light. I DJed for 20 years before I heard the term up lighting. What the F is up lighting?
Right.
Like, I didn't even have lights 20 years ago. You know, people like, hey, you got lights? Nope. You know, because, I mean, I'm from the era where you just cut the lights off.
Yes, and they do what they do.
And really, a lights off party is the best kind. I'm just trying to, I'm just telling you, like, all those party lights, they're just like having a light on in the ceiling. You flick a switch. It's just...
Yeah,
it might look festive, but everything's all lit up. When you cut the lights off and you got one light coming from the doorway, oh, that's the best kind of party.
Everybody's
what goes on in the dark stays in the dark.
Right.
But, you know, things have changed. So you have so many questions to ask. You got to ask, you know, before you even say yes to a wedding, you got to, like, have to say, hey, are y'all getting married in this place? Because if you are.
Yes.
That's going to change things. You know, I just did a wedding not too long ago where the venue where they got married was across the street from the place where the reception was. And the church didn't have sound like set up, so I had to go and wire up the church.
Oh, wow.
Then when the wedding's over, you know, I used to just already be at the reception waiting for the pictures to be taken and all that stuff, and people come in. And what I used to do was just start everybody, you know, by the time the bride and groom get there, I had the party going already. Folks in there rocking. They hadn't even served food yet.
Okay.
But now they have a tight schedule.
Yes.
And if you look at the most schedules for a wedding, they have dancing down at the bottom. You know, if you hadn't given me that, I have people dance as soon as they walk in the door.
I get it.
You know, party. And then they stop and eat, and we party some more. But now it's like, I want you to play, and then cocktail hour, play some light jazz for the cocktail hour.
Right.
And then when they're waiting for us to get there, play this and this, you know, slow jams and this stuff off this playlist for dinner. They have a dinner playlist and all this. Like, well, you know, all this is relatively new in the game.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So you got a million questions to ask.
Right.
Before you can give anybody a quote. But I digress. You know, we're moving on. We're going to move on. Another thing to look out for. Fast talkers.
Oh, man.
And I'm going to put this on my New York people. As soon as I hear a New York accent, I put my dukes up.
I say Carolina.
Like it's time to do combat.
Yeah.
Because I know the flim flam is about to get run. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Cause you ignorant. You don't know no better.
Right. But and I don't even like I'm not even gonna say that New York cats do that because I'm from North Carolina. I think that's just the big city way is to see how much you can get for
right
the least amount. It's just in the nature
yes
of every person I've dealt with and done business out in New York. You know, as soon as I hear that accent, I know that it's gonna be an uphill battle to do everything. They fast talkers. You got to be aware of slick talkers.
yes
So you already deal with promoters. You deal with a promoter from New York, you got to be on your P's and Q's
yeah
because they will sell you
a dream.
They will sell you a dream and have you thinking that it's an honor
Yes.
to DJ this event.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? Or, hey man, you should just be happy to be in the presence
For the exposure.
of this greatness.
You know what kind of
Yeah,
exposure
I
you
mean,
gonna get?
yeah, I mean, you know who's gonna be here? We're gonna have such and such, and be a bunch of people you ain't never heard of.
Yes.
Such and such. He worked with P. Diddy and them. We got my man's coming down from 106 in Park, and be nobody you ever heard of. We got such gonna be in the building from Love and Hip Hop, and nobody you ever heard of.
Ever.
You got my man's coming in from Wild 'N Out, and before you know it, they'll have you thinking that you should pay them to be there.
Absolutely.
So you got to be on your P's and Q's. It's anytime and I know I don't want to just say New York. Maybe it's a large city thing,
I don't know.
but I'm gonna say New York in particular, and I'm calling y'all out right now. And I'm not even pointing the finger and blaming you because the environment builds the person.
Absolutely.
It is what it is. So I'm telling anybody else, if you're dealing with somebody from New York, be ready to do battle, mental battle
Yeah.
to get yours.
Absolutely.
And don't let them run that game on you. You know what I'm saying?
Stand on it.
Stand on business.
Yes. 10 toes.
And at the end of the day, they respect it, you know.
Absolutely.
You know, they respect it. Like the whole time they're trying to hustle you, it's not like they're gonna hate you if you don't go for it. Nah, it's just respect. All right.
Then they're gonna respect.
Right. Then they're gonna respect you.
Shit.
But you know, they would definitely sell you a dream and have you thinking that it's an honor to be here. When it's just the same thing you've been doing for your whole career.
Right. Right.
You know, so beware of slick talkers. Look these people up. Don't take anybody on their word. Like, you know, they tell you, yo, I do this, I do that, I do this, I do that. Well, it's a short Google search.
Easy.
You can find anybody now.
Easy.
So if they tell you they do something, verify it.
Like we tell you, we've been doing this for 4 years. Google search.
Yeah, Google search. You can find, you'll
City.
find Capital City Podcast from
With
2020.
capital J.
You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
And speaking of slick talkers, now I'm going to talk to you women for a second.
Are you talking to women or are you talking to the mother ones?
No, I'm going to talk to you women for a second because, like, women who want to get in the game, those same people that talking to me trying to sell me the dream,
Yes.
you know, that's selling a woman a dream. Like, what they're trying to get out of me is I want this dude to work for as cheap as I can get him to work.
Yes.
What they want out of you is the skins
Huh.
a lot of times.
Yes.
So you might meet a guy who, hold up. Let me rewind for a second. This is not all people. Beware of people. Once you look them up and you find out that they don't have any real credentials, now you start looking out for this. Because the way that they make their living is off of people with talent.
Right.
Talent and looks.
Yes.
Because if you look somebody up and they don't have credits musically, film, producing, or anything,
Right.
then that means that the way that they earn their living is off the backs of the talented people. Am I lying?
I mean, but that's not necessarily a bad thing because if you step in the role of like a producer or something like that, you are living off the talent of other people.
That's true. That's true. So, but if you really, when you really have it going on, the Google search will show that you have done this type of business, and it will show the talented people that you have helped get to the top.
Okay.
But if you search that person, they haven't been attached to any big name.
Yes.
And they're selling you a dream, telling you everything they can do for you, well, you kind of have to ask, well, what have you done for anybody else?
Right, or yourself. Right.
You see what I'm saying?
Right.
So you have to be aware of the slick talkers.
Mm-hmm.
And then, like I said, especially you women, you try to get in the game. Like, you got guys that could take you to New York. But being in New York does not mean you're going to be where it's happening or you're going to get anything done. Anybody from New York can take you to New York. Anybody from Florida can take you to Miami. Anybody from Atlanta can take you to Atlanta.
Right.
But it doesn't mean when they get there they can do anything for you.
Absolutely.
So you need to verify what they're telling you.
Yes.
Before you hop in a car, on a plane, on a bus, and go anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
Verify that these people have something going on.
Right.
Because the fix is always in out here. I'm telling you, man, like, and especially like if you're dealing with somebody who says I'm going to do for you, and then you look up their resume and they have credits to their name.
Yes.
And they too are a talented individual.
Mm-hmm.
Talented individuals usually make connections along the way.
Absolutely. And be leery during tax time.
Right. And when people don't have that talent behind them, then what they're looking for is a talented individual to ride to the top.
Absolutely.
So beware of that. Because if you're truly talented, you're gonna make it.
Right.
True talent will rise to the top.
Right.
And true talent, you don't need a person at the bottom to help get you to the top if you're truly talented.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to stand on that too.
Right.
You have to know and believe in yourself enough not to, like, what'll happen is you'll go and sign with somebody that doesn't have anything going, and next thing you know, you're in New York and you're assigned to this person's under a management contract, a small label deal or whatever. But what they're doing is going out shopping you, hoping that when a major label realizes how talented you are, you won't get paid directly anymore. They're going to pay that person because now you're under that person's umbrella. And that person's going to get paid and they'll pay you for your work. So, you just have to be very careful. Very, 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 very careful. Which comes to the next point. If you're creating stuff, protect your work. You have to protect your work. That comes in the form of copyrights for writers, artists, beat makers. Protect your intellectual property with a copyright. Back in the day, when me and DL were doing, when we started doing this, you could do a thing called a poor man's copyright. That's where you could mail a copy of the whatever thing you have produced or created to yourself. And as it comes back in the mail, it's got a post date stamped on it. And that date, if this envelope hasn't been opened, then that date says that the contents of this envelope, excuse me, the contents of this envelope have been created previous to the date that is postmarked. And people use that as a way to timestamp what they created. I don't think you can do that anymore. The poor man's copyright, I think, may be a thing of the past. Like, business has gotten past that now. Do they still honor poor man's copyright in court?
It don't hold as much weight as it once did.
Right.
You got to have something other than that. like registration and
which means paperwork.
yes.
And back to the contracts, it's one thing to have your own contract, but when you start dealing with copyrights and whatnot, when it comes time to sign something, you have to really, truly look over the contract. My contract to DJ a party is a page and a half.
Mm-hmm.
But a contract to sell some music, they could end up being 25 pages in small print.
Right.
And somewhere on page 17 is the part about once you sign this, we own your masters and your publishing.
For the rest
You
of
might
your
miss
life.
that.
Yes. Yes.
Pay attention to that stuff because the money, like if you believe in your talent, especially you guys that have the one hit now, that one hit may be the thing. That is the thing that people without talent are trying to get from you.
Yes.
They're scanning SoundCloud, YouTube, looking for a person who has one hit. They see the momentum growing. They see you got 10,000 views. They like, you know what? We can turn this into 1 million.
Mm-hmm.
But what you'll end up doing is signing away your rights to the music you created.
Yeah.
And in the long run, thinking longevity, you may get $100,000 now, $200,000, maybe $1 million.
Mm-hmm.
But what you're trading off is if this song blows 20 years from now, they could be using it in commercials and all of this stuff.
Right.
You don't want to lose the rights to your stuff forever because, I mean, what if you make It Takes Two?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know what Rob Bass and Easy Rock situation is,
Mm-hmm.
but
They should have the rights back to that by now.
if they do, that's a song that will always be played somewhere,
Absolutely.
and they will always receive a check.
And that's I guess that's the tricky part about having that one hit because, and I heard T-Pain say this. T-Pain said he might use a sample in one of his tracks.
Mm-hmm.
They might want 50%. They might want 75%. He said sometimes he'll be like, just take it all because I'm going to tour based off this track for the rest of my life.
Right.
So I'll get it one way or another.
That's true. But that is operating under the assumption that A, people will always want to see you perform.
Mm-hmm.
B, that you'll always be healthy enough to perform.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
C, that we're not going to go through a pandemic.
Again. Right.
Like after COVID, it changes the way you think about things.
Absolutely.
The first time I saw a situation like that made me rethink the way I was doing things was after 9/11.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody partied for about a month and a half after 9/11.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're a DJ and that's the only way you make your money, like I said, one weekend is your week's pay. Everybody else goes to work 9 to 5, Monday through Friday. You work Friday and Saturday, maybe Thursday through Sunday.
Okay.
If nobody has a party on the weekend, you lost 1 week of work.
Right.
If it goes on for 2 weeks, 2 weeks of work. A month, you just were unemployed for a month.
Right. Right. Makes sense.
And to add to not getting got, if you want to be able to do anything with that money, you're going to have to claim the taxes on it. It's not going to do you any good to make this money, and then 10 years in, you're still renting.
Right.
Renting an apartment or whatever, and you want to buy and you can't because you can't prove your income.
Absolutely.
So you got to set up your proper paperwork. And I would suggest, you can learn it yourself to avoid paying expensive legal fees.
Right.
Legal fees are expensive.
Absolutely. You have to pay for something, but at least you wouldn't have to pay for that.
Right.
Yeah.
But you can file your own taxes.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. File all the necessary paperwork for copywriting and establishing your business and all that. You can file all that paperwork yourself, but there's a fee associated with filing those forms. And that's, I guess, the advantage of having a lawyer for some people who don't, who lack the intellect or the education to do that part. and that because that's all you paying a lawyer for. Push paper.
And the lawyer understands, like, if you go to a lawyer that specializes in entertainment, then he's going to understand the ins and outs. Mm-hmm. Like, the way this stuff is written, it's written for you not to understand it.
Right.
And it's long because they hope you don't read it.
Yes. Yes.
That's the only reason.
Right.
Like, you know, they could use a whole paragraph to say, once you sign this paper, we own your music. Right. Yeah. But next thing you know, that's 2 pages of your contract with language words you never even seen before.
Yes.
You know, it's like, what does this mean?
Right.
So sometimes it's worth it to pay somebody who's in the know.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but it's so many ways to get God out here. And, you know, for talented individuals, you have to be very, very careful. Look, and the biggest thing I'll warn, especially artists, I'll warn you about signing to small labels too early, because they'll pull the same fast talk on you and you'll sign a contract.
Absolutely.
And they'll own your stuff. And then when you do reach the major label,
right,
rather than them paying you, they pay the other person that you just signed to.
Yeah, and then they pay you.
And then they'll pay you a little bit.
They pay you
out of what they said they would pay you in the contract.
Right.
But they just became a middleman for your success.
Right.
So, you know, you might want to, and I would say that's when family and friends do come in handy, because I recommend anybody starting out, you know, if you can find somebody who's truly a day one to be your manager.
Right. Right. And
you know, you seen the Atlanta series?
Yes.
Paperboy,
his cousin,
had his cousin.
Yes.
You need that guy.
Right.
Ludacris had Shaka Zulu.
Right.
See what I'm saying? Like, they were boys before.
Yeah.
And he handles the business.
Right.
You know?
Luda and Shaka don't even have paperwork.
They don't need it.
Yeah.
And that's what it was supposed to be with Jay and Dame. Jay-Z and Dame Dash. You know, they were operating, that situation went wrong. Didn't work out for Dame so well. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
But he was doing the work. He did a lot of early footwork.
He did.
Putting things in place, you know.
But I think if Dame wasn't how or who he is as a person, that relationship would still be there strong. And this is some personal stuff that I know somebody had to sue Dame because of some snake stuff he did.
Well, what happens is people that start off with small labels learn how to get you because they're going to get got.
Yeah, I don't think you can escape the got or the rape.
Right. Bad Boy was a small imprint back in the day.
Yeah.
And it was a division of Arista. So as Bad Boy's making money, Arista is just eating off Bad Boy.
Yes.
Which means there's less money for Bad Boy to pay the artist because they had to pay Arista too.
Yes. But you don't hear that side. You don't hear that side.
You see what I'm?
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Cold Chillin' under Warner Brothers. Back in the day, there was the Juice Crew, Big Daddy, Biz Markie, all of them. I'm not saying they got raped. I don't know what their money situation was. But the distribution and all the big stuff was happening through Warner Brothers.
Right. Right.
It's the reason you could walk in your record store in Tuscaloosa, Alabama.
And catch it.
Right.
Kind of like, you know, I don't know much about it, but to put it more recent, Rick Ross and Meek Mills, MMG, and MMG was.
Who are they under?
Was it Warner? No, not Warner Brothers. Def Jam. No, Rick Ross is on Def Jam. I forgot, but anyway, the parent company. And when everybody was attacking Rick Ross, they didn't understand the dynamics of the hierarchy.
Right, but that's the thing. The smaller labels learn how to do it from the bigger labels.
Yeah. Because
when they sign, like, for them to get the option of having this thing in stores all over the country, they sign away a lot of money. Like 100% of $100 is $100.
Right.
Then they say, well, I can help you make $1 million, but I want 90%. Like some people, like it's not uncommon for cats to walk away with 10% of the profit.
Yeah.
But it could be worth it if you're gonna have Warner Brothers behind you. You'll make $1 million now, and 10% of $1 million of let's say 10% of 10 million. You make $10 million when you could have made 100,000.
Yeah.
You put 100,000 in your pocket. Now you got to pay the artist, or you could sign a deal and make $10 million, and now you got $1 million.
Right.
But the artist still signed under the smaller imprint.
That's why the legendary status is attached to Master P and Cash Money.
Yeah, I remember when
they flipped it.
Yeah, when they got their deals, like they got the largest percentage for small labels under big imprints. I think Cash Money was on Interscope.
They paid Interscope.
I mean, but the thing is, they got like 25%.
Yeah.
And Master P got even more.
That's what I'm
when
saying.
Most people were getting to keep like 10 to 12.
And he getting 60, 75% of it.
Right, but that's why he could afford to pay his artists. You don't hear anybody from No Limit talking trash about dealing with Master P. I haven't heard anybody say dealing with Master P. Nobody complained about dealing with Master P.
Right.
But that's because he had enough money.
Cash Money was in the same situation as Master P. Their deal was
wasn't
sweeter.
No, it wasn't as good as Master P's.
Really?
Nah. I remember back in the day just reading about it. I can't give you all the details, but Cash Money didn't get the same level of.
They got upfront money.
I think both of them might have gotten upfront money, but they didn't get what Master P got. Like what Master P was able to do for his artists. Cash Money was probably the second biggest chance.
They still
they had more than what Puffy had.
But we're not gonna say that Cash Money didn't pay their artists because they didn't have the money though. We're not gonna say that.
Nah, like I said, they learned.
Cash Money.
They learned from the industry.
They had the money.
You know, they had the money.
Yeah, they didn't learn from the industry. If you listen to Baby tell that story, he didn't learn from the industry. He learned from the streets how to pimp the industry. And that's how that situation came about. That's why
he learned how to pimp them artists from the industry.
Oh, yeah. Them damn lawyers they had.
You know?
Them lawyers.
So you got to be careful with that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I don't know the details of how quality control operates in these newer, but I would say the quality control is probably one of the biggest hip hop labels of today.
Yeah. Well, Offset complained about them, and then he went back to them.
Right.
Yeah, he complained about the split and the royalties and all that, but he ended up going.
And you know what they always tell you? Well, you signed a contract.
Right.
And when people sign, they don't know that they're going to be like, you don't know what's going to work and what's not going to work.
I just and this is from an outside looking in as far as the music part of it goes as an artist. I always think if you go into any contract as a business, as a brand versus an individual, you'll come out better. You know what I mean? Because that individual
brand, that's when you LLC yourself and all that.
Yeah, and do all that beforehand.
Right.
So they can't come with the same tactics as they would with an individual because, it's certain laws and stuff that protects companies from doing business with other companies.
Well, that's why they sign kids fresh off SoundCloud and YouTube.
Right.
Like, if any song that can take off on its own and cover 3 states, any major record label knows that I can pay this person $1 million and get the rights to that song forever.
Right.
Like what person is not going to take $1 million?
Absolutely.
And they'll take it
Right.
not realizing that the record label knows that if you can do this on your own, then we can make this this much with you.
Right.
And they're not worried about recouping that $1 million. They'll get that $1 million back.
Easy.
Yep. But the thing is, you'll spend that $1 million right quick because of the nature of the game. You know, clothes and hoes. Gold and drugs and drinks.
Even in my opinion, the biggest rap artist right now, most people would say Drake. I think the biggest rap artist right now is NBA YoungBoy. And when NBA YoungBoy had YouTube on Smash, and that's how he got the attention of the major label. Well, the major label signed him and owns his music, as far as I know, but they don't own his YouTube channel. And it's monetized.
Right.
So that's how he's eating. And that's why I say he's the biggest artist, because he does Drake numbers, and you don't even hear him on the radio.
Well, the thing is, like how big is NBA YoungBoy right now?
Just as big as he's always been. He might be bigger.
You think so?
Yes. Even he,
just as a DJ.
You're gonna prove my point. Say it. Say it. Say it.
I can't. I don't see him
Say
being bigger than Drake by any means.
Well, I didn't say bigger than Drake.
Or
I said
as big
Drake.
as, you know. I don't.
I
don't
give
see
him. I give him that credit of being the biggest artist, because
He on house arrest right now.
Yes, he doesn't have that machine behind him. But scene, I guess you would call him an independent artist because of that fact. DJs don't really get requests for. Well, I can't say all, because you don't DJ those type of parties that an NBA Young fan would be at. I don't think.
Right, not anymore. That ain't.
You know what I'm saying?
That's not my cup of tea.
And it's just like independent artists back in the day sold 100,000. That's just like going platinum with a major. Drake has always had that machine behind him. NBA YoungBoy does not have the machine behind him, because I can't even tell you off the top of my head who he signed to, because you always just see him. But there's a bigger label that he's signed to who's in control of his, I guess, the own his publishing or whatever, however it goes. But they just don't own his YouTube, where the monetization is. And he's up right now.
You saying Motown?
It is Motown?
Yeah.
Okay.
The NBA YoungBoy signed to Motown.
Okay. I like that too.
Yeah, Motown dabbles.
Yeah, I like that. Damn, Motown pushes somebody like NBA YoungBoy.
Yeah, man.
And any moment he'll write a song about shooting you in the face.
Well, the thing is, like, NBA YoungBoy doesn't necessarily have to worry about getting got at this point. You know, he's gonna be comfortable. We talking about, like, most of the time, like, most of what we talking about is people coming into the game, because that's when you really gotta have your guard up.
Absolutely.
You know, once you reach an NBA YoungBoy status, you know.
Well, I was saying that a part of,
I can't even speak to how NBA YoungBoy cannot get got. I haven't been there.
He's got.
Yeah.
The label got him. You know what I mean?
We talked about how many albums he had to make.
Yeah, but yes, right. But that YouTube, you know, like we always talk about the 10,000 views and stuff like that on YouTube. Man, this dude do numbers on YouTube.
Yeah, it'd be 20 million.
Man, headlining the show. When was the last time you heard about NBA YoungBoy headlining the show? He on tour. And you know you would have heard of it.
And see, that's where I would say it's tough.
He hasn't been to Raleigh or Durham or Charlotte.
Well, how can you do anything on house arrest?
Except do numbers on YouTube.
and how much money are you gonna make on YouTube? You know what I'm saying?
If you're doing numbers, he's probably getting a pretty penny. He's probably getting a pretty penny.
Yeah, but meanwhile, Drake's out here with no ankle monitor on.
Oh, hell yeah.
Filling up stadiums with Sexy Red.
With the machine behind it. With the machine behind it. You know, that's all I'm saying. The difference of the machine being behind you and the machine not being behind you.
Right.
Yeah. Like, people talk trash about...
But that's the thing, though. He signed the NBA YoungBoy signed to Motown. The machine is behind him.
Man, no, man.
Yes.
Where you seen him at? What are they...
He can't be seen anywhere.
That's what
He's on house arrest.
That's what I'm saying.
But Motown
Yeah.
is the machine.
Yeah.
Same machine that was behind the Supremes and Marvin Gaye.
He was doing
and
it
Stevie
before.
Wonder.
Yeah, he was doing it before. What else Motown got, man?
I don't know what they got right now.
Who's
But the
Motown?
thing is, I didn't know they had young boys. So
Yeah,
I
I
bet
didn't
you
know
if
that
we
either.
if we look it up,
Yeah, I definitely didn't know they had YoungBoy.
I bet you if we look it up, they got other artists.
Oh, yeah, of course. Yeah, I want to know who signed to Motown, though.
I'm looking it up right now.
Yeah, because Motown is not a record label in 2024 that you mention when you talk about record labels. Unless
Hold up.
Who
They
else?
got, like, this list right here has,
Okay.
this can't be right.
Who is it? Rod Wave.
Wow. Listen
Ooh.
to this.
Yeah.
Listen to this roster. NBA YoungBoy, Bankroll Freddie,
Oh.
Brandy, Bree Runway, City Girls,
City Girls?
Erykah Badu, Kim, K-E-M, Kim,
Okay.
Leighton Green, Lil Baby, Lil Yachty, Migos. So apparently, Quality Control
Is under Motown.
is under Motown.
Oh.
Mic drop.
Wow.
Take Off. T.Y. Savage,
Wow.
Vince Staples.
Damn, that's a name I ain't heard in a while.
Yeah, they all in the Motown imprint.
Wow.
Yeah.
Quiet money.
Yeah, Motown is still,
Right.
you know. But apparently that just means that Quality Control worked something out with Motown at some point.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That's crazy.
And they refused to get got.
Oh, that's right. Oh, that's right.
Yeah, but that's the thing about the middleman, you know.
Yeah.
But for Quality Control, I would say, hey, it's worth it for them to sign to the middleman rather than sign directly to Motown, because Motown doesn't know how to promote hip hop. I've been in the game for a long time, and Motown has never known
Yeah.
how to promote hip hop properly.
It's
But
NBA YoungBoy, man.
but you get Quality Control under the you get that imprint under the label.
Right.
Then you don't have to
don't
promote
have
them
to.
properly. Quality Control knows how to promote them properly,
Right. Right.
and they needed somebody to help push. They needed some money. They got the machine behind them. So the machine
crazy.
is working. The machine is always working.
Damn.
You know what I'm
okay.
saying?
Damn.
But in general, you know, we just ran down a whole bunch of ways not to get God out here.
Right.
Starting from the most basic label, like you trying to get out here and perform shows or whatever, you know, A, look out for janky promoters. B, get yourself some money up front in the form of a deposit. C, write a contract. D, be careful who you travel with. Ladies, don't fall for the okie doke. Do your research on anybody that tells you they can do something for you.
You said ladies. I got real quick.
I
Gotta mention one thing.
I said ladies because I know that a lot of people that don't have anything going on will sell a dream to a girl that really wants it just so they can get them off somewhere out of town.
Can I say my? Let me say this.
Yeah.
And for you young up and coming artists and whatever you're into, males, watch out for them hoes, man. They will get you.
They will get you too, because it's just like, you know, a million times we've compared athletics to entertainment.
Yes.
and you see what happens. Like, you know, a woman will see that you're about to be something.
Absolutely.
And that baby, man, that baby would do it to you.
What?
That baby would do it to you.
Stop pillow talking, man.
Wear condoms.
Stop pillow talking.
Stop pillow talking.
Yeah, man, that'll get you too.
Yeah.
That will get you too.
Yep.
Got you. By her.
Do not tell your business.
Right. Leave them hoes alone, man.
Yeah, that's it. That is another thing.
Yeah.
Especially when you're on the way up in the game.
Yes. Leave them hoes alone.
Yeah.
Say it, kid.
Yeah, if she's for the streets, leave her for the streets.
Leave her for the streets, man.
Because she will set you up. But that's a whole different kind of getting got that we're not getting into right now. Matter of fact, we might have to do that next week. How not to get got.
Got.
Yeah, we're talking about not getting got, but got might be next week's subject.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like Biggie talked about, I got a story to tell.
Right. Absolutely. And don't hit the blunt for everybody.
Oh my goodness!
Watch your drink, man.
Oh my goodness! That's a whole other podcast. How not to get got. You get triple got.
Yo, I need some more of that weed you had. I need some more of that drink you had.
Hey, in the meantime, do good business out here though.
Yes.
Ask questions.
Right.
Ask questions. Question everything. Question your contract. Question the length of your gig.
Right.
Question the person that's telling you they're going to make it happen.
Yes.
Ask questions. And if they're offended by the questions, they're doing bad business. And they don't want you to know.
Right.
Like if you're asking questions about, you know, how's this going to happen? How's that going to happen? Somebody say, "Dang, why you asking all these questions? I say I'm going to do it." Then just go ahead and walk away.
Yeah.
Go ahead and walk away. That person can't do anything for you, or they were planning on taking advantage of you, and you're asking too many questions, and they're starting to realize that you can't be taken advantage of.
Right.
Well, that's a good thing for you.
Yes. Go with your gut.
Go with your gut and get out of there. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's no shortage of people out here trying to take advantage. There's no shortage at all. And the sad thing is, the way it's set up here in America, those people will eat.
Yes.
And you won't.
Right.
You know?
I think that's a good stopping point.
Yeah. So we're out the door with that one. So do good business, people. It's the Capital City Podcast. I'm your host, Capital J, alongside my main man,
DL Glass.
And we got contracts.